She stomped onto my driveway, waving a flimsy HOA notice like it was a weapon. "You can't live here anymore," she shouted, her voice sharp enough to scare the neighbors. I didn't flinch. I knew every inch of this land. It had been in my family for over a century. She called the cops, screaming, "Arrest him," as if she owned the law itself. The first patrol car rolled in, tires crunching over gravel, and I stepped forward calmly. "You really want to do this?" I asked, hiding a small smirk behind my beard. Inside my jacket, a recorder was already running, capturing every word. She had no idea she was walking straight into a trap. The first officer got out, clipboard in hand, looking serious but unsure. "Ma'am, please step back," I said, keeping my voice steady. She waved him off, insisting she had authority. That's when I revealed the first twist. I held up my framed property deed, shining in the sunlight. "This 100-year-old farm, it's mine. Every inch," I said, letting the words hang in the air. Her jaw dropped, and I saw panic flicker in her eyes. She had been planning to bully me out, but she didn't know I had documented every corner of this land, every violation she had made. The hidden cameras around the yard started capturing her tantrum. I quietly texted my cousin, a retired sheriff, to swing by just in case. She tried to regain control, pointing at the cops and yelling, "See, he's breaking the rules." But the officers glanced at the deed, then at her, their faces shifting from confusion to disbelief. That's when I dropped a second twist. "By the way," I said, calm but firm, "those cameras aren't just for show. They've recorded your threats, your fake HOA notices, and every step you took onto my property without permission." Her confident smirk faltered as she realized the entire scene was being documented. The first officer cleared his throat, whispering to his partner, "We might need backup and paperwork." She froze, caught between rage and fear, trapped with nowhere to run. The gates of the farm were locked remotely from my phone. "Where are your cops now, huh?" I asked, letting it sink in. Then came the third twist. My cousin, the retired sheriff, drove up in his truck, stepping out with a calm authority that made even HOA Karen shrink. "Everything's under control," he said, nodding at me. The officers who arrived earlier now looked like bystanders. She muttered under her breath, but no one cared. Her power had evaporated. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every humiliating reaction for the proof that would finish her. She tried one last move, grabbing her phone to call for more help, but the screen lit up with notifications. The live feed from my cameras was streaming to the local HOA board, the sheriff's office, and curious neighbors. Panic hit her face. "No, this can't be happening," she shouted. I stepped closer, calm but firm. "You tried to intimidate me on my own land. Now everyone sees exactly who's breaking the law." The cops with her exchanged glances, realizing she had lied. Her fake authority couldn't stand against decades of proof, legal ownership, and every recorded moment of her entitlement unraveling. Her face turned red with anger and embarrassment. Neighbors began gathering at the edge of the driveway, drawn by the shouting. I walked slowly toward her, holding up the evidence folder I had prepared. "Every notice you posted, every threat you made, all of it recorded," I said, letting the suspense linger. She opened her mouth to argue, but no words came out. Even the officers shook their heads. The woman who thought she owned the block was now exposed, humiliated, and powerless. The farm had survived a century. HOA Karen couldn't change that. Her hands trembled as she finally backed away, realizing she had no allies and no authority here. I lowered my voice, letting the final twist land. "Oh, and one more thing. I've already filed a complaint with the county trespassing, impersonating HOA officials. Harassment. The sheriff's office will be in touch." Her eyes widened. For the first time, I saw genuine fear. Neighbors whispered among themselves, some nodding at me with admiration. The cameras had captured every moment, every lie, every tantrum. She couldn't spin this. Today, the farm and my family's legacy stood untouchable. HOA Karen learned the hard way that true power isn't about yelling or fake rules, it's knowing your rights and standing your ground. By the time she left, escorted by a real deputy called in by my cousin, the sun was dipping behind the farmhouse, casting long shadows across the yard. I walked slowly to the porch, feeling the weight of the century-old land beneath my boots, and breathed a quiet victory. The cameras kept recording not for proof, but because the story of entitlement and justice had to be told. Later, neighbors came by, shaking their heads in disbelief or offering congratulations. I smiled, knowing this farm would remain ours not just because of deeds or fences, but because we refused to be intimidated, and deep down, I knew HOA Karen would never forget the day she tried to bully history itself and lost. The end.